Anyway, we are going to move on to college basketball. Excuse me, the NCAA. I'm getting sleepy. All right, the NCAA. We're going to move on there real quickly, Lee. We're going to bang this out before we get to our quarterback rankings. We're going to fly through our quarterback rankings, even though we're going to leave some room for debate there, because I know we're going to debate. Let's talk about the NCAA. Is the new rule, the 5-for-5 eligibility rule, good for college football? Lee, the mic is yours.
Is it good? You know, in theory, it looks like it's good. I don't like things that restrict player movement, that restricts a player from entering college. Right now, if I've never played college football, and I'm 26, 27 years old, and I'm not have played in the NFL, my time as far as my eligibility would already be ticking, Leo. Once I get past my 19th birthday, I have 5 years to play 5 seasons to play 5 years, right? 5 years to play 5 seasons, excuse me. And so it doesn't allow for some of these guys, and I know what they're talking about with football. You don't want these older guys coming back. It's more in basketball than football, but you know, they don't want these guys that have went to the G League but didn't have they still have some eligibility left coming back to college basketball. It's more a college basketball rule, in my opinion, than a football rule. But until you fix the transfer portal, this means absolutely nothing, right? You know, making these rules on eligibility is one thing, but you need to fix the entire landscape of college football prior to putting this in place. 5 years. I like the fact that now you can play 5 years of college football. They've taken away the red shirt. You know, you can't tuck a player away. They got 5 years to play. And so maybe you can develop people, but you still have the transfer portal that you're still going to have people jumping ship after the first year, you know, if they don't get the playing time. So what have you really fixed? The only thing you fixed is on the basketball side, really, you're not getting out of this influx of 26, 27, 28-year-olds coming back to play college basketball. On the football side, it never was really a problem, right? It's always been set in stone, except that you could tuck players away and redshirt them, right? They could play up to 4 games and still get a red shirt. Now you can't do that. Even if you're injured now, you still have 5 years to play 5 seasons. So the rule, to me, I could do without it, to be honest with you. I don't think it addresses the real problems in college football. And I don't think that it's going to affect it, especially from a football perspective. I don't think it's going to affect it as much. Basketball-wise, I think they really didn't like the fact that grown men were coming back to basketball and playing against 18 and 19-year-olds. And so I think from a basketball perspective, it brings college basketball back to the age range that I think most coaches and administrators want.
That would be a hefty suspension, but yeah, I mean, we'll see. Well, Lee, let's talk about the NCAA. I heard your take.
Oh, yeah. They could suspend him to that point. They could suspend him for a whole year. It's possible.
It's hefty, but it's possible. I wouldn't be mad at it. You know, Lee, I feel like you dipped and dived there, but overall, by you saying you can do without, I'm gonna have to disagree with you. I think the rule makes sense. I'm 100% on board. Right now, college football is constantly trying to reinvent itself, constantly, and it can be very frustrating because, especially if you watch college football back in the day, like I have. And you look at all the bullshit changes that I've seen recently, ideas about the SEC potentially breaking away from the NCAA, even if it's just nonsense talk, you know, the transfer portal, you know, the tampering that comes with that. This new change actually creates uniform for the sport.
How does it address the transfer portal, though, Liam? It doesn't address the transfer portal.
It doesn't address that specifically, but it gives you more uniform. You see, there's not going to be one law, one change that you can pass that's going to fix college football by just one thing. It's just not going to happen. There's not one law that you can pass.
A collective bargaining agreement between the players.
There's not one. There's not one law, Lee, unless you can name it to me right now, that you can pass that will fix college football and all its issues right now. Yes, obviously, there's going to be different things that you're going to pass to create uniform in a league that pretty much is all over the place. Now, you look at the combination of the COVID-19 eligibility and the red shirt rules, it created loopholes that allowed players to stay in college sports for up to 6 years. You had players that went to the G League and then wanted to come back to play in college. You just developed in the G League playing with grown men. Now you want to come back and play against college students? That was never going to be fair. Just from an ethical perspective, or just hearing that. Somebody that never watched basketball in a day in their life could just be like, yo, that don't even sound right. Now, you look at that from that perspective. Now they get 5 years. You get a 5th season to develop, which is an extra year to develop. You get another year to earn NIL. All right, that's another year for you. It creates more uniform. To me, it's a win-win. If you in your late 20s, don't even go to school, bro. At least to play sports. Obviously, I would never say don't go to school, obviously, because you're never too old to get that education and to be successful in life. But if you in your late 20s, don't even bother to go to school to play sports. This is perfect. When you're 19, that's when it starts. You get 5 years. Everybody get 5 years. So nobody's getting more than the other. Bo Nix played about 1,000 years of college sports. Bo Nix. All right, not everybody's fair. 5 years, even though he did play 5 years, actually. But you know what I mean?
It really doesn't fix anything, though, Leah. It doesn't fix anything.
It just creates more uniform.
Yeah, for basketball, like as I said, for basketball, it creates some uniformity, because I do agree with you that from the basketball perspective, what you said about the G League players coming back and playing basketball, I agree with that. Even though these young players, they go to the league and play against grown men, but I don't like the fact that you spend 3 years in the G League and you come back. Now that from the basketball perspective, from a football perspective, it does nothing. It does absolutely nothing. The only thing it does is, because you still have the transfer portal, you still have NIL, where you have the collectives that are paying these players. So from a football perspective,
yeah, those are two separate issues.
That's absolutely nothing.
So what they got to do, the NCAA, is pass new changes for those specific issues. Right? This is the issue of eligibility. This is not the issue of NIL. This is not the issue of the transfer portal. This is the issue of eligibility, which has always been an issue, even before the NIL. Even before the transfer portal, this was a longer, longevity issue.
Yeah, but Liz, you don't have mass people in college sports playing football for 6, 7, and 8 years. You have a small percentage that does that. You don't have that. That's fair. So the issue in football is not that. The issue in football is the fact that the transfer portal and collectives are pricing some schools out, right? So they need to fix that. The way that they fix it, Leah, is they have a collective bargaining agreement, something that the colleges just won't do. That's the only way to fix it, because you have to bargain a salary cap. If you arbitrarily place a salary cap on college sports, it's going straight to the courts and it's going to be stricken down. If you limit free movement of these players and you have other non-revenue sports that can move freely, it's going to court and you're going to lose. It's been proven already. So until you bite the bullet and collectively bargain, especially for football, nothing's going to change. So this eligibility rule, I give you that the basketball, as I said, I love it. It's something that I agree with. But football doesn't do anything. I mean, because remember, players still going to leave after their freshman year to look for more money. They're still going to.
I mean, that's fair. That's the transfer portal. That's a crapshoot in itself. And I address that. I know the transfer portal is an issue. I know tampering is an issue. But whether it's they play at one school, Indiana, for a prime example, then transfer to Alabama, guess what? One thing's what made a constant. They get 5 years of eligibility. Simple, and think about what that could do for the average guy, right? Forget about the superstar players that we know could go after in college football after 3 years, or after, in basketball, after 1 year. Forget about those guys that just, all right, let me just act like I'm going to class, pay my professor, slide me some A pluses, and then I go to the NBA. Outside of those guys, the average guy got an extra year to earn NIL money. They get an extra year to develop. All right, because literally what we want to see players develop so they can come into the NFL, so they can come into the NBA and have success. When you look at college football, for a prime example, especially with quarterbacks, obviously we're going to be talking about quarterbacks next. The quarterbacks that seem to struggle are the ones that barely played college football. AR-15, Trey Lance, barely played college football. You look at the ones that played a lot of college football. Bo Nix, AFC Championship game, right? They do better because they're more developed. To me, this is perfect. Everybody has a clean sheet. Everybody gets 5 years. Nobody gets 6, and the other guy only get 2. Everybody, fair game. Fair game. To me, this was the best rule that they made in the last decade that I can remember.
I don't think it's going to affect college football really at all. Good players leave after 3 years, possibly 4. They very rarely stay 5 years anyway. So this was put in place. It takes the place of a red shirt and a possible injury, but players leave after 3 years anyway. I mean, it's a rule. It doesn't just kill me that they put it in place, but it doesn't really help the sport, in my opinion. It gives a little relief to basketball, but from a football perspective, it's not anything that's going to. You won't see a difference in college football based off of this rule at all.
And my last point before we move on to the next topic, whether it helps the college basketball more or whether it helps college football more, it's still an improvement, right? It may not help both equally. I think I could agree in the sense that I believe it helps the college basketball a little bit more than college football, but all across the board, I think there's more pros than there is cons. And honestly, Lee, between me and you, I don't see a lot of cons. You may see more cons than I do. I may see one, no more than one. That's it. All I see is pros.
Real quick, Lil, it's going to hurt college hockey because hockey players don't go to college first. They go to the junior leagues and play 3 or 4 years. Then they come back. So it's going to hurt college hockey very much so.
With all due respect.
So,
with all due respect, I got no chill. Who watching hockey, bro? You know what I'm saying?
It's about young people in their sport, Leo. See, that's what
I get it. I get it. Let me be fair.
You can't just focus on one thing. I'm trying to help you out of here. I'm trying to get you the world view of this stuff, man.
I got you. Right. Even though I don't watch hockey, that doesn't mean nobody else does. Lee, I know you don't watch hockey. Even though you're talking for hockey.
You go.
But maybe somebody that live in the cut that watch hockey. Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm just trying to help out, man. I'm just trying to help out.
Sports, politics, conspiracy theories. We are here to give you our unique perspectives on things happening in the world. It's the one and only The Real Lil on The Real Lil Show.